Welcome back, my blasphemous babes. Thank you for joining me for yet another episode of Christian Ex-Witches. This is a series on my channel where I, a real witch of almost 2 decades, marvel in confusement, amusement and horror as people who left the craft proceed to spew a lot of misinformation about it now that they are bathing in the judgy light of Jesus, darling, okay?
Mary, turn away from Satan. Jesus, he loves you.
They really do have a lot to say. They left the craft, but they love nothing more than talking about it, talking smack about it on these internet streets. And I'm afraid I just can't let that go unpunished, my loves.
I've got an application here that can throw grenades into people's dreams.
We're going to have to delve in and see what we can find. And that's what this series is all about. Every episode is packed with some of the most ridiculous things you will ever hear about our spiritual path. It's really rather amusing. You must pull up a chair and take a look at this. Some of it is just beyond, I have to say. I am going to be your psychopomp, my darlings. I'm going to make it easy for you to explore this world of Christian ex-witches because I'm going to trawl through their testimonies and I'm just going to serve them up to you with a side helping of sass, okay? It's just going to be some sassy commentary, not all sassy. Sometimes I'm quite sympathetic. Sometimes there's stuff we find that's really sad and moving, and sometimes it's just a bunch of baloney and we're going to have to really sink our teeth into it. So I'm going to give you a couple of disclaimers before we begin. First disclaimer, if you have religious trauma, this episode might not be for you. There are lots of other wonderful things to watch on my channel, if I do say so myself. I talk a lot about witchcraft, tarot, and personal development. If you cannot handle people talking about how witchcraft is demonic or we're all going to hell, please go and find something else that is going to be better for your mental well-being. And the other disclaimer is I'm not attacking Christianity in general. I'm literally critiquing the videos that I'm going to find today on TikTok. That is it, and that is all. I'm not here to disparage an entire religion, okay? So let's get that straight before we begin. Okay, there's going to be some salvation stories, there's going to be some faith-based rebrands, and there's probably going to be some bold-faced lying. Let's face it, my darling, so hang on to your witchy hat and let's see what we can find.
Do you want to know how delusional I was when I was in the occult, New Age, and witchcraft? I literally believed that I was a goddess. So many people in New Age believe that they are a goddess from a past life incarnated on the planet for such a time as this. They believe that. They believe that they are in control of every little thing in their life. They think that there's no God that has a hand over their life because they are the God and the writer and the creator of their lives. Do you know how much responsibility that is and how delusional that actually is? Knowing that there's a God that I can submit to is so freeing because I don't have to have the answers to all of it. I don't have to spiral out when things don't go my way and check my energy to see what could be wrong with me. I don't have to have my chakras aligned or some past life regression because something didn't go my way. I just know that God has a different plan than what I had in mind, and that's okay. It is freeing.
Okay, so this person says that she literally believed that she was a reincarnated goddess and that lots of people in the New Age, witchcraft, occult world believe that kind of thing. I actually, on my travels, have never met a single person that believes that. But go off, I guess.
Your arrogance offends me.
Maybe she was a part of some kind of community that had those kinds of notions and maybe they encourage those kinds of notions in each other. I'm just saying that it's not a common thing that I have come across, right? We're not chock full of people that believe that they're like the second coming of Isis or reincarnated Isis, because actually we're chock full of people that believe in Isis. Isis is still around, right? So it'd be quite weird to say, oh, I'm reincarnated, because the gods do not need to reincarnate. They are living. So that makes very little sense. But like I said, she could have been part of a community that had those kinds of notions. Who is to say? There's a lot of stuff out there. There's a lot to see. I definitely haven't been around all of it, and that is by choice, quite frankly. I do think that I would actually rather believe that I am a god than to be submitting to a god. You know, she used the word submit, and it's true that I don't really like the idea of submitting to anything or anyone. So I'm glad that's working for her, but it would not be working for me. She also said that she is glad that she no longer has to realign her chakras or do a past life regression every time something didn't go her way. I feel like if she was doing a past life regression whenever she was a bit upset about something or something didn't go according to plan, she's definitely best off out of that spirituality and in Christianity, where things are very much more like straightforward in terms of what you do when things go wrong. Because doing past life regressions as a response to any failure or disappointment is wild. That is hardcore. I think anything like that is just, yeah, it's too much, right? So maybe she did require a little bit more simplicity, a little bit bit less of the buffet table of what, you know, witchcraft and new age and etc. can give you. Maybe for her, it's better to just like tone it down, because she was pulling out the big guns for no reason at all. Also, for anybody who is new around here, okay, I know that she said that she was part of witchcraft, occult, and new age. They all do this shit. So get used to it. All right. Buckle up, because they all fail to make any distinction between witchcraft and new age. And they all pretty much say witchcraft, new age, the occult, like it's all the same. They squidge it together like a bunch of fucking dough. It's just a big dough ball of stuff. They make no distinctions at all, which is one of the many reasons why people in the comments are often saying, this is some bullshit. This person wasn't doing anything of the sort, because they haven't made any distinctions. And of course, we know witches very much make a distinction between witchcraft and the new age. So it sounds a little funny on our trained ears, doesn't it, when people go, I was into witchcraft and new age, all that stuff. And it's like, okay, that's not very common either. But, you know, again, pop off, darling, pop off, queen. I think this person is just going with the tired old line that like people like us we're not humble. We are arrogant. We think we're goddesses. We think we can solve every problem. We think we have all the cosmic almighty power, and it's just not the case. I feel like a lot of the time that's what people were looking for when they made a wrong turn to come and hang out with us, and then they realize like, oh, that's not what it's actually about. There is a lot of work to be done, and there are a lot of things to be confronted, and then they jump ship, to be honest with you, when they realize it's not going to be like the version of things that they had in their heads. So I think it's a bit of a projection often when people are like, I thought I was a goddess and I thought I could take control of everything and I thought I had the power. And it's like, okay, but that's like not what we all think. That's what you wanted to believe or what you were looking for. You didn't find it, and now you're disparaging us. Very unsportsmanly. We don't like that, okay? It's like I say at the beginning of these episodes, like leave quietly and leave us in peace. Come on now.
Why are so many people turning to Christ from the New Age and the occult? I'm Angela. I'm a former witch turned Jesus lover, and I'm the best person to answer this question because I was a witch who built an over $1 million a year business on social media.
I have literally never heard of her. She doesn't exist.
Why are people running away from the New Age? Well, it's really simple, my friend, and I pray that you are here because you are interested in Jesus. The entire occult is built on me. I can do it. I believe it. I can create it. I am responsible for my future. That is not only completely exhausting, but it's impossible. It's never going to happen. Everyone's realizing that now. We not only can't do it, but we don't have to do it.
Hang on a second, hang on. She made the ludicrously generalized statement that the entire occult is built on me. I can do it. I believe it. I can create it. Me, I.
It's all about me.
She's saying that everything that people do basically in the occult is about themselves. And everything also is for them to work out, presumably with no help from mentors, books, gods, guides, resources, the lineage of traditions or anything like that. None of this is true. This is ridiculous. We have a lot of help. We think about a lot of things just besides ourselves and what we want. There's so much stuff going on in this area of things. You can't make this kind of blanket statement. So that, for one, I definitely resent. There is actually a lot of that in Christian ex-witch testimonies and stuff. This whole idea of like the occult is me. And if I can dream it, I can be it. And it's all on me and I'm responsible for it. And, me. Yeah, it could never cover the entirety of everything that we do. But let's just continue.
Human life was never designed to be done without our Creator God. Jesus paid it all. He paid for you and he paid for me, which means we don't have to pay it all. We get to surrender and trust and believe and have faith and let him take care of everything. Why am I getting so close when I have this microphone? That's the reason I got it, so I can back up. So if you are coming out of the New Age, if you're still in the New Age and you are exhausted, you are burnt out, you have realized that what you were sold about this manifestation mindset, it's mind control. It's you believing someone who sold you a lie. And I know that because I sold a lie. I mean, I believed the lie that I sold, but I still sold a lie. God wants you to turn all over to him. He's got it. He'll take care of you. Give your life to him and he'll set you free. You don't have to do everything that you've been told you have to do.
Okay, so she said that Jesus paid it all, presumably by being crucified. And that means that we don't have to pay it all. We can just surrender and trust and have faith and let him take care of it. But the thing is, he's not taking care of it, is he? There's actually a lot of stuff. There's a few bits and pieces here on planet Earth that JC is actually not taken care of for whatever reason. Currently, the Christian God and no other God really is taking care of the atrocities and the injustices happening in various places throughout the world.
You look out the window of Starfleet headquarters and you see paradise. Well, it's easy to be a saint in paradise.
He's not paying anybody's bills. He's not creating more affordable housing. He's certainly not nursing our sick relatives. There's a lot of stuff that we do need to take responsibility for, and we need to find the power and the motivation and the strength and the daring to be able to do that. So I suppose my point is, it's a bit wild to say, I think, that once you believe in Jesus, you can just sit back, relax, and let him take care of everything. That just sounds so slovenly and so detached from what is going on in the world. And that's one of the problems I always have with this brand of Christianity. I actually also don't think that it is a good reason to convert. It sounds very self-interested. I'm pretty sure Jesus said a lot of things about being self-interested and about making sure that you take care of people and do good deeds and all that kind of jazz, you know? I don't think that you're just supposed to convert to Christianity and then take a fucking load off and just wait for all of your problems to be solved.
People want me to do everything for them, when what they don't realize is they have the power.
I'm not sure that's quite how it works, to be honest with you. I think you're supposed to use Jesus as your example of how to live your life. The way that she's positioning it is like, oh, just sit back and relax. JC's got the wheel, you know, he'll handle everything. And it's like, yeah, I'm not really into this. It sounds like a major shirking of some of the most important work that I think human beings can do. And I don't think that's actually very Jesus-like from what I've read. I think you're supposed to take part in civic responsibility as somebody of a religious faith or a spiritual path. I think that's a very good thing to do. And I think it's obvious that you're still going to have problems, whether you're a witch or a Christian or anything else, and you are going to need to take some responsibility for those problems. I don't think it's personally healthy to imagine that God or any God is just going to swoop in and take over. It's definitely not what my gods want me to think or how my gods want me to operate, and I think that's healthier. She makes it sound like you literally convert and then you stop striving and then God just puts you on his back and takes you over the finish line. And I think that that is very, very disingenuous, and it sounds like the selling of false hope. She also said that if you give your life to God, he will set you free and that you don't have to do everything that you've been told to do. Unless you're part of a tradition within witchcraft and the occult, no one's really telling you what to do over here either. Like, who the fuck is telling me what to do? Absolutely no one. It's actually much more, I think, large parts of the Christian framework where people get told what to do. There's actual doctrine. There are actual expectations from the church. There are actual Bible passages that you have to follow and all that kind of thing. There's commandments. It's way more apparent that Christianity is the framework that tells you what to do. And like I said, unless you're under the umbrella of a strict tradition and you have confirmed that, yes, I want to do things under that umbrella, I think it's actually, you know, witchcraft that is more freewheeling and you can do as you see fit. I'd argue there's a lot more hard and fast rules with Christianity. So that's also selling something that's not the case. Also, before I move on, can I just say, this woman said that she had $1 million a year business, selling people the idea that they could manifest their reality, that they could get what they wanted with magic and stuff, and that that was a lie, that she was selling a lie. And I would actually agree that she was selling a lie. I'm not sitting here as a witch being like, oh, that's not a lie. Why would you say that? No, I do think she was shilling a lie. I don't trust anyone actually in the spiritual community who sells manifestation advice and tells people that their destiny is completely down to them to decide, because I think it really ignores issues of systemic oppression, socioeconomic differences, and all those kinds of things. I don't think it's very real world. I don't think it's very fair, and I don't enjoy actually those kinds of teaching. So I also would agree that her business model sounded a bit shady before. People's lives are blighted by systemic oppression, and if you're not talking about that, then I don't really want to hear it. But just because she was teaching that kind of manifestation mentality, right, and that like you control everything in your destiny, and if you're fucking up, it's because you're not holding the right vibration, just because she was selling that doesn't mean everybody in the magical and witchcraft world is selling that or believes it. I certainly don't.
Hello, children of God. Mika here. I used to be involved in witchcraft and shamanism. Jesus saved me over 2 years ago. Praise God. But he's put it on my heart to share something with you today, and that is how the devil gets people to be involved in witchcraft without them even knowing it, and that is through music, especially modern music that is really hypnotic and repetitive with the beat.
You might even say pathologically anti-pleasure.
You turn on the radio and you hear the same song play like 5 times in an hour, no exaggeration. Why? Is there a shortage of music? Absolutely not. But it's these songs that are often have dirty or disparaging lyrics to repeat, and you hear it so often that it gets in your head and you can't help but singing along with it and repeating it. You might wake up with a song in your head for days. Now, that is sorcery. It's witchcraft. It's getting you to say and repeat things that you don't necessarily believe. It's getting you to lie. It's getting you to lie about yourself. Think of the apex of the song Bohemian Rhapsody, where the lyric is, "Sometimes I wish I'd never been born at all." That is evil.
First of all, she cannot blame the devil for the fact that we hear the same song on the radio 5 times an hour and we wake up with it in our head. That is not sorcery or the devil. That is capitalism, babe. That is capitalism. The radio is just going to play what is charting and what is doing well on streams. That's what it plays. And other than that, it strives to play a bunch of familiar songs that people know as soon as they tune into the radio station, because radios want to keep their listeners. The more listeners a radio station has, the more they can sell their advertising spots to businesses for. So it's got nothing to do with Satan, darling. It is very much to do with big business. That is what causes us to hear the same songs over and over again. I know, because I know radio DJs, and it drives them crazy that they sometimes have to play the same songs on repeat. And it won't always be the charting songs, but it will be songs that people like know straight away, because usually you're only listening to the radio on average for like 8 minutes or 12 minutes or something. It's like a car journey or whatever. Or if you're in the mall or whatever, you know, and you hear the radio, it's a very short amount of time. So they want you to remain hooked in. That's why they play the same really bloody familiar, catchy, sugary songs that hit the pleasure center. Yeah, it's just money. It's just straight up money. They want to keep listeners because listeners create revenue. That's it. Let's keep the devil out of it, darling, shall we? Yeah, I don't think Satan can be blamed for the heavy rotation of popular songs, but I could be wrong. Who knows?
There it is. Devil Love Me. Devil lives. It's clear as day.
I love the idea of the horned one being overly invested in taking over radio stations, but you know, it's actually not that deep. I love the fact that she mentioned Bohemian Rhapsody. I actually love that. She mentioned it as an example of like satanic lyrics. And as a really avid Queen fan and a long time watcher of Queen interviews, it's interesting because they were asked about the demonic or devilish nature of Bohemian Rhapsody quite often. And it reminds me of this particularly adorable part with Freddie Mercury in an interview where he was talking about the song Bohemian Rhapsody.
Why do we use it? Yeah. It's just why do we use anything? It doesn't necessarily mean I study demonology and things. I just love the word Beelzebub. It's a great word, isn't it?
I just love the fact that he's giggling about the word Beelzebub. It's just so amusing to me. Getting back to the point though, I do find it very creepy. I personally find it creepy when Christians kind of talk about how singing lyrics that center on dark themes will corrupt you, will let the devil into your soul, and all this kind of stuff. I don't like that because that shit is toxic positivity. It is full-on artistic censorship. It's infantilization of human beings. It's saying that human beings shouldn't actually access the full spectrum of their emotions and their artistic expression. It's demonizing some of the darker or more difficult human emotions. I really don't like that. I don't trust it. This brand of Christianity promotes actually an outright suppression and rejection of the human shadow. And I think if Christians like this had their way, there would be no secular art or music. Everything would just be related to Christ, which I find so culty and so fucking weird. If they had their way and they had the world that they wanted, we would not be allowed to make art about the occult or about the esoteric or about fear or violence or sadness or any of those things. Like we just point blank wouldn't be allowed to make that stuff anymore. Doesn't that sound like a creepy, culty reality? You know, this idea that even just like the lyrics to pop songs or rap songs could corrupt you. I mean, I never want these people to take over. I can't have them like just taking over culture and deciding what goes on, because everything is just going to be songs about Jesus. It's just going to be him. It's very telling. Whenever this kind of thing comes up, it's just so telling about what they would like from their art, which is not much art whatsoever. They definitely wouldn't allow any music that's about any other gods. And to be honest with you, like if they were in charge of all art and they could decide what goes on the radio or what gets shown in galleries, the entire art world would just be grayscale. It would be dreadful. And she's taking everything so literally as well. So literally. The music makes you repeat lyrics that you don't necessarily agree with. And that means that it's making you lie. When you sing those lyrics, it's making you lie. What? What, so Christians are only allowed to sing the lyrics to songs that reflect their exact experiences and beliefs. They're never allowed to like sing any songs that take them on a journey into some other kind of reality. No, everything's got to be steadfastly and stone coldly what they believe about their love for Jesus. Is that it? Are Christians in danger of not knowing the difference between song lyrics and their own minds? Because I am concerned. Because when I was memorizing gangster rap lyrics or metal lyrics as a teenager, I was 1,000% aware that they were lyrics and not a fucking instruction manual on how to live my life. Like, I was very aware of that difference. I think it's going to be okay. It's so weird because people like this will say they're witches, right? Like, she's saying that she was a witch, but the way she's talking about music lyrics right now, I fear that she wasn't a very good witch if she ever was one, because witches are really into symbolism and they are aware that symbolism isn't necessarily something to be taken literally. They are lyrics, babe. They're lyrics. Like, it's so bloody fear-mongering. It's so wild. They're afraid of their own shadow. They really are. They're just so afraid. And if this is the kind of thing that's supposed to promote us coming over and joining, I can't think of anything I'd rather join less than a bunch of people that are like, oh, the devilish lyrics, and when they repeat the songs, it means that they're making us lie and Satan's coming into our souls because the banging tune is making our souls corrupt and melt. And it's just like, wow, I bet you're really fun at parties, love.
I don't know if it's just me, but I definitely can see a difference in people. I see a difference in myself after finding Jesus. Like, he turned my life around. I looked unwell. My health was unwell. My face looked dead. My eyes there was nothing in there. Mentally, physically, I was just not okay because I was lost.
Okay, this is something interesting that I've definitely seen come up before in these kinds of videos. Somebody saying that when they were a witch, they looked really unhealthy. They looked dead when they were a witch. And this was clearly a sign that they were unhealthy. They didn't feel good, you know, they didn't look good, basically. They were mentally and physically suffering, and that was obvious from the way that they presented. I feel like this kind of testimony does fall too much into the category of focusing on physical looks as a sign of whether somebody is well or whether somebody is good. And that does make me feel uncomfortable. Although it might be true in this person's case that they were unhealthy when they were in witchcraft, I just don't like to promote the idea that we can tell anybody's state of health by looking at them, or that it is even okay to do that. It also falls into the dangerous territory of implying that if witches are suffering, if their physicality is suffering, if they're ill, or if they have ailments, then it's their fault because they're witches and it's the witchcraft that's doing that to them. And I know that that is what a lot of these kinds of Christians believe, and I find it to be a slippery slope. I find it to be super bigoted. It's also got a faith healing vibe, hasn't it? You know, I was sick and God healed me and all that kind of thing. I don't like the faith healing vibe of it. I actually talk about this in a previous episode that I will link for you down below. There is a playlist of all the episodes that I've done. This is the 10th one, this episode, where there is a guy talking about Ariana Grande and the way that she's changed and she's lost loads of weight and this and that, and how that is a sign that she is clearly heavily into the occult. Nothing to do with the surgeon's knife or Ozempic or the stress of being a celebrity or any of those types of things. It's because she's in the occult, and you can tell when people are in the occult because they look dead and they look sick and they look demonic. It was all very conflated, right? Sickness and illness and poor health was being conflated with being demonic, with being evil, with being in sin. And it was just super uncomfortable. I'll leave it down below for you, so I'm not going to go on any more about my opinions on this. I'm just going to carry on listening to her, and let's see what else we can get out of this testimony.
I just find it interesting how people have more to say in support. Like, they were more in support of me being in that. And then once I was saved and Jesus pulled me out of death, that's when people get concerned and think you're in a cult or you're brainwashed. But to me, it's like, I would think about it and be like, these people look different. They just look different. They act different. If you actually speak to Christians who are really living out a life with Jesus, like, you would notice there's something evidently different about them. And even before I knew Jesus, there was something different about those people, to the point where it did bother me. So like, I can understand why people are like, oh, Jesus freaks her, blah, blah, blah. But I just find it interesting how people will support you more when you are lost, broken, hurting, and you look unwell, than when you look happy, healthy, and I don't know how else to explain it.
Okay, so she's saying that people supported her more when she was dabbling with witchcraft and the New Age, even though she did not feel great. She did not look well and she did not feel well. But now that she's got like the God glow up, she's feeling amazing as a Christian, but people around her are concerned. They feel like she might have been brainwashed or she might be in some kind of cult. And it seems like she's very hurt that, like, actually she was unhealthy when she was a witch, but it seems like the people around her are worried about her more now that she is Christian. Interestingly, she also said that before she became a Christian, she used to feel a little bit uncomfortable around Christians. So she can kind of understand herself where people get this kind of like, oh no, not the Jesus freaks.
Jesus freaks and candy asses.
Where they get that kind of attitude from, because she actually also used to feel like that before she got saved, quote unquote. So that is actually really interesting. She does admit that she responded that way to Christians in the past, but now she is one. It hurts her that people in her life are not supportive. To be fair, this must be quite frustrating for her. I can imagine it is frustrating. You know, she feels like she finally found what she was looking for, and people are alarmed and, you know, trying to talk to her about, you know, the risk of being brainwashed and stuff like that. People are showing concern for her new path, but she actually feels like she's really happy and she's got Jesus and the God glow up is working. So why are people concerned for her? Honestly, guys, I think she's probably getting that kind of reaction because she is behaving in a brainwashed way and she probably cannot see herself. She's probably not fully aware of the way that she's behaving with people around her. But there is like no doubt to me that the reason that people are using words like cult and brainwashing is because of the way she's behaving with them, right? She's probably vehemently trying to convert everyone around her, whether they are interested in hearing the word of the Lord or not. She's probably just been like dropping Bible verses into non-religious conversations, trying to bring things around to Jesus again. When somebody's really excited about the Christian faith, they really cannot see how unbearable they're being. I think it can be really cute when somebody is into a hobby, something that they're really passionate about, you know, like a special interest of theirs. They really like get enthused when they talk about it. They get passionate when they talk about it. Like, as long as they don't take over the whole evening talking about it, I think it's actually really fucking adorable. It's not that adorable when it's somebody who's trying to disparage your beliefs, tell you to abandon your beliefs, and tell you that if you don't take on their beliefs, you're going directly to the fiery fucking pit. Do not pass go. Do not collect 200. That is not cute. That is the opposite of cute. That is just like not quite so adorable. I'm sure that she might think she's being very adorable, but no, I can assure you, baby, you're not. All right, please stop.
I met a man that changed my life, like a God, Jesus, who changed my life, pulled me out of the pits and made me a new person. Like, I just find it so interesting too sometimes how, or all the time, when I meet people and they'll tell me their testimony and I'm like, you? What? No way. Like, he really does give us a new life. And that's the beautiful thing. Well, one of the beautiful things about Jesus. But I don't know, like, that's just been something that I've been pondering because it blows my mind. And I just want everyone to meet the man who changed my life and many others around me. Like, he's not exclusive to me. He's for everyone to meet and encounter and grow in relationship with. And like, you will never want to go back after you've tasted and seen. Like, it's not something that's a cult or brainwashing. Like, it is real. It is so real. And yeah, I just don't even have words to put to it because I'm just like desperate for everyone to know Jesus.
Well, there you go. She's absolutely just proved the point that I just made with the previous clip. She's just proved it. She says that she's desperate for everyone in her life to know Jesus. That sounds culty to me. That's why people are worried that she's in a cult. That's why her loved ones are concerned. It's simply and only that. It's not that people in her life don't support her finding a faith that feeds her. It's that they're responding to the way that she's behaving now that she's found that faith, and it's freaking them the fuck out. It's uncomfortable for them. If you won't rest until you've done everybody's fucking heads in with your constant conversion attempts, don't be surprised if somebody turns around and says, "Are you okay? You're kind of acting a little brainwashed, sweetie." Don't be surprised if that is the reaction. You know, it's a lack of self-awareness, I feel like. It really is. It should be plainly obvious why people in her life are worried that she's brainwashed.
Rid him of his unnatural perversions. May you lead him out of the darkness, Lord, and into your divine light.
What upsets me and what makes me angry about this category of Christian is that they want to act very persecuted, right? They want to talk like they're so misunderstood and they're so persecuted, and they're upset that people will not see how much better their life is and how much better their lives could be in the light of Christ. But what is actually happening is that they have become persecutors. They have become people who willfully misunderstand other people in their lives and are not listening and not respecting people in their lives. They are the persecutors, but they want to behave as though they are the persecuted. That is what really annoys me. It's like they're in a hall of mirrors about themselves. Do you know what I mean? Like that really does piss me off. I think when people are upset that their conversion attempts are rebuffed and people in their lives don't understand, and it's so upsetting, they don't understand how happy I am and why not? And it's like, wait a minute, you're the one that's trying to trample over what they believe and how they're living their lives. You're the one telling them they're going to burn in the eternal fucking pit of fire if they don't do what you think they should do. Watch yourself. You are the persecutor, not the persecuted. You know, it's like a cry bully. A lot of them really are fucking cry bullies. They think that they have the right to be like, "I'm so misunderstood. People just don't understand." And it's like, I'm sorry, but you're the one trying to be all bolshy and aggressive and insistent and domineering, trampling over the way other people live their lives and trying to convince them that they're doing something evil and wrong and like it's all the other way round. Everything that they think is the other fucking way round. And it does really piss me off. It does pain me terribly that this is what happens, because it's just so unfair on these people in her life that she's trying to convert. Those are the people I feel sympathy for and feel sorry for, not her. They are refusing to respect and accept their loved ones. They are trying to change their loved ones. They are causing harm by trying to convert people who are not interested, right? They are the ones causing pain. They cause pain and then people respond to the pain that is being caused. It's not the other way round. It's that way round. And they just don't want to see it. She may have been unwell when she was a witch. I'm not denying that. I'm not sitting here saying that she wasn't unwell when she was a witch. I'm not even saying that it wasn't witchcraft that made her unwell. For some people, it could be because they are conflicted inwardly about what they're doing. They didn't belong in witchcraft. And so it may have been having a serious effect on their stress levels and their nervous systems. So I'm not denying that. But what I am saying is that when she was a witch, she wasn't constantly trying to aggressively pressure her loved ones to adopt her religion. So that's why people are raising concerns now rather than before. It's quite simple. It's quite easy. And I really, really hope that she does go on to see her behavior and realize that, because it is so frustrating. And for anybody who's dealing with this shit from Christians in your lives, I'm so bloody sorry, because it must be so frustrating. It must be like banging your fucking head off a brick bastard wall. Like I can't imagine it. And I would not be putting up with it. It's too bloody stressful.
So because I came out of witchcraft and I've been warning people about the practices of witchcraft for the past 6 years, I'm pretty well vexed in the industry of how a lot of this stuff works from a spiritual aspect. Now that I'm following Jesus Christ and I've seen both sides. One thing that I've learned is that most people that go into witchcraft to have a desire to follow, mysticism, African spirituality, New Age, anything outside of following Jesus Christ, it's because they desire to have control.
Everybody wants to have control over their lives. What? I don't like this vague language. Like, what kind of control does she mean? What kind of control would necessarily be bad to her? I don't understand. Like, for example, I want control over what I eat, what time I go to bed, who I forge strong connections with, what I charge my clients, who gets to touch my body, how I spend my money. I want control over these things. Why is that bad? And when I feel like I'm lacking control, it's either going to be an internal issue of poor poor discipline, or it's going to be an external issue of people treading on my boundaries. And I want to be able to take action to rectify that situation. Again, what is wrong with that? Why is control such a filthy word for some of these people? I think it's scary. It scares me. People should want a monicum of control over their lives. It scares me that they're teaching young children this kind of thing as well. That does freak me out, especially when it comes to things like consent, right? If we're constantly talking about like, oh, it's wrong to want control over your life, where does that come into play when you're trying to teach kids consent and when you're trying to also teach them free will and critical thinking? You're obviously not trying to teach them those things. That troubles me. I'm sorry, but it would seriously trouble me, as I know it does a great many of us. I'm not into it. I'm not about this at all. So yeah, I do things to take control of my life. I make decisions. I make changes. I take responsibility for things. I decide that things need to look different, right? I look at something and I say that needs to change, or I need to do better with that, or that's something that is a habit that I'm going to look at. Do Christians not do this? Is that what she's saying? Do Christians literally just float around not making any decisions and taking control of absolutely nothing? No. They do seek control as well. We all do. We're like, as sentient fucking human beings, we do. The only difference is that they ask God about it, for advice on it, and they consult the Bible. We ask, lots of gods, or maybe trees.
How you been?
I've been well.
Everything good?
It's great.
Or whatever, and we consult tarot, for example, but we're both doing the same thing. We're both seeking some degree of control, and we're bringing in our religious or spiritual beliefs to be able to factor in that desire for control, but we are seeking control. It's really weird that she's making out like, witches, they seek so much control, and that's not right. They shouldn't do that. It's like, you do too. It's just weird. It's such a weird hatred of the word control that I can only look at I find it suspect. I just find it really weird. And let's fucking face it, to be honest, right? Considering the amount of control that the Christian church wants to have over political policy, I find it very, very funny that they think of control as a dirty word, because they are constantly seeking it over every bloody aspect of public life. And it's disgusting. That's another thing as well. The amount of Christians that are like, witches want control over other people. Witches manipulate other people. Have you seen what your church does? Your church wants control over all of us. I'm sorry. The pot is calling the kettle black at that point. Do you know what I mean?
And of course, there are people as well that want to have the ability to control and to manipulate other people's lives as well. So a lot of people that are doing witchcraft, they're not just doing it for the sake of their own lives, they're doing it for the sake of manipulating other people's lives.
There we go. It's come up now. It's come up. The idea that witches use magic to control and manipulate others. There it is, right there. It always comes up. That part is hyped up by a lot of Christian ex-witches. They really put special emphasis on that. They underline it. And that always makes me assume that that is one of the main reasons that they were ever interested in the craft.
What's up?
See you on the dance floor.
Can't wait.
It is a projection. They went into the craft seeking control over others, seeking to manipulate others, because it's really actually not that much of a common thing in witchcraft. I am a witchcraft mentor. I am a witchcraft author. I have spoken to literally thousands of witches. I am not saying that people never use witchcraft to get what they want from people, or to change people's minds, or to seduce people. I'm not saying it's never used for that, but in my 20 years of experience, I can tell you it's nowhere near as common as the focus that Christian ex-witches place upon it. Witches are very, very conscious of ethics around controlling others and around fucking with other people's free will. It is something that is not taken lightly. It's not done every 5 minutes, but it's really, really amplified by Christian ex-witches, which just goes to show me that it's really where their focus was placed.
The issue is that they don't want to allow themselves to do what is necessary to follow a divine being like Jesus Christ. And Jesus requires you to surrender your life to his will. Surrender your life to what his desires are for you, not what you want. And so it requires obedience. It requires surrender. And people that operate in the form of witchcraft are not looking to be surrendered to anyone but themselves. But the crazy thing that they don't even think about, when you open yourself up to demonic spirits, when you open yourself up to other spiritual practices, you will go into it thinking that you're in control because of the things that you are able to do in order to receive an immediate response or gratification. not even realizing that as time moves on, you're actually not actually the one in control. You're under the control of the spirits that you're serving, because none of those things that you're doing is for free. There's always a price to pay when you illegally go into the spiritual realm and enlist spirits, demons, to award you money, relationship, power. All these things don't come free.
Christian ex-witches always do this. They consistently boil the spiritual aims of witchcraft down into the pursuit of money, the pursuit of sex and romance, and the pursuit of success and power. They always want to boil it down to that, like that is all we do. That's basically the long and short of what we do. It does betray the very, very shallow grasp that they had on the former beliefs that they profess to have held. You can use magic for all of those things, but it's so much more than that. It's not all about grabbing and striving and yearning and desiring, and it's not about that. There's so much more to it than that. Witchcraft is profound in ways that I think most witches can't even explain in language, because it is really just that fucking deep. It gives you an incredibly deep and beautiful grasp on what it is to have a human experience, you know, and they just boil it down. Like, witchcraft is about being still in the unfolding and feeling that you are part of divinity. Witchcraft is about really feeling your energy, the energy of others, the energy of place, the energy of objects, the energy of nature. Sometimes witchcraft is about just experiencing how magical even the most mundane of moments can really be. It's so emotional. It gives you so much more than just like, what's the next thing I need to get? What do I want to get? It's not all about that. And when they boil it down to that, I just think, well, you know, you've demonstrated, you've revealed your motivations, darling, for why you were in witchcraft. That has nothing to do with us. For me, witchcraft is about noticing the energies within things and between things. It's about locating and harnessing my strength. It's about connecting with archetypes. It's about understanding the way wisdom and symbolism moves through times, through different eras and civilizations, until it hit me smack bang in the face, you know, and how privileged I feel and how much grace I feel like that gives me in my life. It's a really, really so much more potent than they're ever willing to describe, because they can't describe it that way, because they never experienced it like that. They didn't experience even a quarter of the depth that witchcraft is capable of giving to its practitioners. Sometimes for me, witchcraft is about just marveling breathlessly at the dark awe of being a part of all of this, and how it dwarfs me, but how it also includes and embraces me. And it's about what it conceals and what it reveals, and how it's talking to me constantly. You know, witchcraft gets so squished and distorted and diluted down by people like this. And then they have the audacity to profess to be able to talk about it like they know the first fucking thing about it and its magnitude and its complexity. Absolutely not, sweetheart. Fuck off. These testimonies just cheapen the craft. They cheapen the craft, and it offends me. It does offend one, I have to say, it really does. Also, she said that the spirits that help you to gain this money and this power and this success or this romance, they need paying. She said that none of this comes for free. I don't know what framework she's talking about, but it certainly does not apply to all witches. I don't personally know what the fuck she's talking about. Many witches cast spells and do all kinds of various different things without the assistance of any gods or spirits, because they don't work with them. Okay, so she's obviously talking about some kind of specific framework that she either used to practice or that she pulled out of her ass, who knows which one. But yeah, there's no one and nothing to pay back. I work with spirits and I work with beings, okay, and I can tell you that there is no payback scheme. All right, that's not what it's about. So it's fear-mongering. This is fear-mongering. This is this whole idea that like, oh, you're going to have to, you know, the devil comes to collect. No. That is your paradigm, sweetheart, not mine.
So who's really in control? You're not in control. The demons that you're summoning, that you're channeling to give you these things, is who's in control. So would you rather surrender your life and be in control of making sure that your salvation or your eternity is secured in heaven? Or would you rather think you're in control, truly not be in control, and be damned to hell for eternity with eternal separation from the Lord and Savior that made you, Jesus Christ?
Okay. So now she's using the C word again. We're back to control. But this time she's saying that you can have control as a Christian. Okay, so we've changed our tune here a little bit now. She is now saying that you can have control over your salvation by making the decision to come to Christ. So Christ doesn't make this decision, you make this decision. She's actually appealing now to the listener's sense of control by encouraging them to use that control to decide to follow Christ. Earlier, she was saying that control and free will are very witchy things, dangerous things, and it's not wise to seek them out. So it's all very confusing. One thing that I've realized about a lot of these videos is that they really will just say shit. Christian ex-witches will just fucking say shit, and it doesn't actually need to mean that much. They don't really clearly give definitions for the things that they're saying. They certainly don't give examples of a lot of things that they're saying. They just kind of like ramble on, to be honest with you. They just ramble on. Everything is very vague. Things are just, you know, seasoned with a bit of fear-mongering, a little bit of seasoning here and there of the fear-mongering. I find it mind-numbing. I don't find there to be anything, you know, enticing about it. I find it intriguing in terms of critiquing it and in terms of breaking it down and looking at it, but I would never ever be like, oh, this is inspiring me. You're so right. Because very often they just fill their videos with contradictions. Their videos are chock fucking bastard full of contradictions. They will say one thing and then within 2 minutes later, they're saying a completely different thing that's the opposite. And I start to feel like I'm being sold up the river. Like this person has not really thunk through what they were going to say before they hit record.
Satan just disguises himself to get you exactly where he wants you, to where you believe you're in control, where you believe that what you're doing is something that's going to benefit you or make you feel good, but in turn you still feel empty. You still feel as though you haven't gained anything. The control you think that you have is truly not control. It's bondage. It's a stronghold that you'll never get free from until you repent, until you surrender to the one true God, Jesus Christ.
Oh, it's bondage, is it? It's bondage. Okay. Can Satan be James Spader and I can be Maggie Gyllenhaal? I'm sorry, I'm always going to be that twisted little individual that hears the word bondage and takes my thought process to the least religious place ever. I'm so sorry. I apologize sincerely, I really do. Let me just get back in the zone here.
Well, my background was mainly in witchcraft, New Age witchcraft, which I got into it young because it was pretty normal in my house. I would say that there was a lot of witchcraft on my family. And I was fully in the industry for about 10 years. I would wake up to the smell of burning flesh in my bedroom. If you want to know what a demon smells like, they smell like burning flesh because they're straight from the pit. They're on fire. Yeah. So I'd wake up and think, oh my gosh, I've left my oven on. It's like 2 a.m. and I jump out of bed and run downstairs and then the smell would go. I'm like, oh, that's really weird because it was so strong.
I'm not going to argue with what she's saying here. It does sound so literal though. Like they literally came from the pit. You know, they're on fire when you see them. They smell burned. I don't know, when I have visions and feel presences, which I do obviously as a practitioner of witchcraft, that does happen to me. It does happen to a lot of us that practice witchcraft. I do find that my 5 senses are engaged sometimes, but I'm also like, I'm very much aware that those things are not in the room with me the same way a flesh and blood person would be in the room with me. It is different and there is a lot of symbolism to it. And I am supposed to kind of like figure out what things mean because they're not literally material. They are real to me, but not in the same way. Am I making sense? Like, you know, if something came into the room and I interfaced with it and it was on fire and it smelled of burning, I wouldn't feel like, oh, it's literally there on fire burning. But that seems to be how she's describing it. And that, I mean, yeah, I know about biblical literalism. For example, like I know that a lot of these types of Christians, they really genuinely believe in actual hell, like actual fiery pit of hell. I will never be sold on that idea. There's just like literally no fucking evidence for it whatsoever. I don't give a fuck that it's written about in the Bible. I just do not care. There are lots and lots of awesome books that have been written about lots of different mythopoetic structures and allegory and gods and stories and everything like that. And I think they are all really impressive books of symbolism as well. And I think they can be very powerful, very potent, very life-changing, very paradigm sealing. And I love all that. But I'm never going to be, like, you're never going to convince me of the existence of hell. I think it's literally just a big process in fear-mongering and trying to keep people docile, scared and subservient. And that is obviously what it is. It's clear clearly obvious to me that that is what the fuck it is. So I'm never going to be sold on that. But I don't know. It's just very interesting that she's talking about these demons like they literally are the same as anything from the material realm. Like, for example, if I interface with a spirit and it was on fire, I wouldn't go and get my fire extinguisher because it's not on fire in that way. There's something about the symbolism of that fire. There's something that's being communicated to me. There's something that I need to work out. It's like a Rubik's Cube, a symbolic Rubik's Cube. I'm not going to be like, oh, they're literally on fire. I don't know. Maybe I'm taking this too seriously, but I just find it really interesting how literal she's being. And that on its own feels quite fear-mongering to me. I'm not sure I'm making my point land very well, guys, but get at me in the comments if you know what I mean, and let's continue watching.
A lot of Satanists, they worship the Baphomet. This is why we see such a big confusion with gender, because the Baphomet is half male, half female. Yeah. And a lot of the Satanists that are at the top, they worship him. So we see that then flood out over the world. So that's why we're seeing this whole gender confusion, because this thing is both.
Wrong. Thanks for playing, bitch. Better luck next time. Wow. This woman has absolutely zero fucking understanding of what she's talking about. Okay. Unbelievable ignorance here. Gender confusion, as she calls it, has been around for about as long as there has been a gender binary. Long before people started worshipping Baphomet, Yahweh, or any fucking thing else, okay? People have had gender confusion. Anywhere where there has been a gender binary, there is going to have been gender confusion. In other words, people not fitting into that binary and people feeling like that binary doesn't represent them and that it's hard to live within it. The culprit that causes the gender confusion isn't Baphomet or Satan or any fucking thing else. It's the binary. The binary is the culprit, I'm afraid, that causes all this fucking confusion. The gender binary in any particular form at any point on the timeline of human history is something that many human beings have not been able to feel that they can put themselves neatly into. Unfortunately, also, many human beings have died trying over time. They have died trying to put themselves in that binary. And for what? For who? I don't think a single person should so much as break a nail for this sanctimonious individual, let alone die trying to be something that they are not because she thinks that that is what is moral and what is righteous. Her religious institution is a major contributor to the pain and to the death and to the ill health of trans, non-binary, gender non-conforming people. This is what really kills me about this. And she has become a Christian so she can now perpetuate that fucking harm. I've actually always loved the fact that Baphomet is intersex. And for all my trans, my non-binary, my gender non-conforming peeps watching, I love you, I see you, you're welcome, and I hope you always feel warm around my content. And for the transphobes watching, you can fucking see yourselves out, okay? Don't announce it because none of us fucking care. All right, we are not bothered. We will probably just feel the energy get lighter as you depart.
You weren't invited and nobody wants you, so get out of my pub.
Okay, let's see how she wraps this up. Fucking hell.
I opened my eyes and he was standing at the foot of my bed. He was the crucified Jesus, so he had the crown on.
The crown of thorns.
Yeah, that was horrible because I'm in love with him. Like, he's got my whole heart. I'm so in love with him. And I'm seeing him in pain. He approached the bed and he just looked at me and he said, "I'm gonna wash your feet." I was like, please don't. Like, my hands went up like this. I was like, no, because I wanted to wash his feet, and I knew I was forgiven. I knew I was forgiven in that moment.
Yes, Jesus does continue to undergo a complete personality transplant, doesn't he, at the hands of these people? Do you not think? It's really interesting. Like, he goes from being someone who teaches about helping the vulnerable, you know, sheltering your neighbor. He goes around with the outcasts. He encourages other people to do the same, to not reject those that are different from you. And then, personality transplant.
But that collar really suits you. It's very, very attractive.
Is he dying or something?
He conveniently keeps showing up in the dreams and visions of small-minded, judgmental, bigoted assholes who would never be able to do any of those things that he said it was so important for people to do. It's really interesting. It's interesting that he supposedly favours them. That's just a bit too convenient for me. And apparently, as well as visiting these small-minded, judgmental bigots, he's washing their feet. Oh shit. He washed your feet. Wow, bitch. That is quite something. Wow. He's really changed. JC has really changed. If that's true, then I'm giving you the side eye, JC. Okay, you're not who I thought you were. I don't know, just isn't it all so fucking terribly convenient? There's so many of the people that are like, I had this interaction with Jesus, I saw him, he washed my feet. They also say outright the kinds of things that I feel, from what I understand about Jesus, would be morally reprehensible to him. I mean, who owns Jesus at this point? Who actually has ownership of Jesus and his image and his personality and what he says when he comes through and he gives people messages? Because no Jesus that I understand would be washing her feet, maybe giving her a lecture, definitely giving her some kind of lecture, talking to her about the way she talks about other people and about having more compassion for people that are different. Okay, I think that would be what Jesus would be doing. Washing her feet, I don't think that was on the agenda, but whatever, honey, whatever you think, whatever makes you sleep at night, whatever makes you feel fucking special. Wow, this one was, I think I need to relax my shoulders. I need to go for a run. I need to lift some weights. I need to let off some fucking steam after that one, sweethearts. That was quite the ride, wasn't it? It really was. This was the 10th episode of Christian Ex Witches, my loves, and I have loved doing this series. Please make sure that you hit like and let me know if you would like to see more of them. I am quite happy to carry on for as long as there are ex-Christian witch shenanigans on the interwebs. I am more than happy to dive in and take a bite out of these bitches. I really am. So let me know. Leave your comments below. Let's please continue the demonic dialogue. You know, I always really love hearing from my blasphemous babes. So definitely get at me and let me know all of your thoughts and feels. We get some really interesting comments on these episodes. We hear from a lot of people who were raised in these kinds of really difficult environments. We hear from people who previously had these kinds of beliefs and they are recovering and they are reforging their souls. I want to give all the love and the respect to you. Welcome, darlings. Burn that shit. No, let's move boldly forward into something so much more healthy, functional, and kind to others. Also, we do have some Christians here. We do have some Christians that come and watch these videos, and we also have Christo-pagans. You will play nice, okay? I mean what I say at the beginning of these episodes. I'm not here to take down the entire religion. I'm actually not, all right? I know it sounds really difficult for some of you to understand. It has been said in the comments before, to me actually, Kellyanne, all Christians are evil. All Christians feel like this. Sweetie, you live in a teeny tiny world, all right? You're sheltered. I'm in love with a Christian and it's all fine. As I mentioned earlier in this video, darlings, if it's your first time seeing an episode of Christian Ex Witches, I do have a playlist. I will leave it down below for your convenience so you can catch up on all the skullduggery that has gone on before you got here. So yeah, smash the like button if you enjoyed it. If you didn't enjoy it, please pray for me. Either way, I think it's very fair to say that I am winning. Much love, blessed be. And remember, if you're going to leave the craft, leave quietly and leave us in peace. Mwah.